Good morning and welcome to the NuSpecian live Q&A. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Aston. Good morning, morning, morning.
Thank you all for being here. Sorry we got started a little bit late. That was my fault. I'll take
No
the blame.
comments.
No need to. Thank you all for starting to say hello in the chat. Hi, Fitzgerald and Colin and Joyce and Megan. We see some of your questions and we will get right into them. Just for those of you who may be new to NuSpecies, I'll just do my quick intro. Apologize to those who've heard this 1,000 times. But NuSpecies is a natural health company. Aston invented our herbal formulas or herbal medicine over 20 years ago. And we've been doing this for 18 years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
Boy.
And all of our formulas are designed to help your body be as resilient as possible against some of the toughest of health challenges. We also, in all of those years, because we've worked with so many people who are dependent on medical care, but also want to live a natural lifestyle and want to add nature into their healing, we have developed a pretty powerful integrative health consulting practice, which is the way that we help you combine the best of both worlds. And we think we've gotten pretty good at it. And it's partly why we do this Q&A, because a good health choice for you may not be a good health choice for someone else. And so in order to help you continue along your own unique health journey, we host this Q&A every Saturday at 10 a.m. so you can get the answers to your questions. We also often prepare a little bit of something that's on our minds or that we're finding relevant at the time, and we'll talk about that as well. But our main agenda is your agenda. So please feel free at any time, no matter what we're talking about, to post your questions or comments into the chat. And if you have nothing to say and you're here to just listen in, just say good morning and let us know you're here.
Yeah, we have so much to talk about in 2026. We have a lot of information to share with you about nature, about the universe, about spirituality for health, living with our feet grounded, literally grounded. And with good health and long life. So we have a whole lot prepared so far, and a whole lot more preparing for 2026. So tell your friends and family to tune in. So really, it's a lot of stuff, and I think it's pretty deep stuff as well.
We're hopefully going to work harder this year on actually promoting the Q&A on our social media channels and throughout the week, not just the morning that it happens, but you can tell by my lateness today.
Don't apologize. We have a lot, that we do. We have so many clients who rely on us, and our focus is always each client. And that's why, people say, why aren't you on Wall Street or Main Street or whatever? It's because we're focused on you. We're not focused on the world. We're focused on those of you who call us, you come to us, you bring your family to us. And that is so precious. You actually bring your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, and your children. You bring your children to us. A lady went into Bronxville yesterday, and she said, I have my 3 grandchildren, and they have this cold for weeks, and it's not going away. You bring your children, your grandchildren, you bring your entire generation, 3-4 generations to NuSpecies. That's a heavyweight.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. Great privilege. And yes, awesome.
Yeah. Hopefully you are subscribed to our email list and you got our email this morning, which may be why you remembered to join the show. But I wrote a new piece there. That piece is also available on our blog on our website. I do try to make sure that anything I put in the email newsletter is always on our website. So you can always visit our site, nuspecies.com, or get our email newsletter in order to keep up with the education and things that we're doing. But like I said, this year we're going to hope to spread it a bit more widely. But our focus is always going to be the work we do one-on-one with you on the phone and in person or through chat or email, wherever you are trying to reach us. That is what we're doing. And anytime we have left after that, we try to do some of the other marketing stuff.
Right.
But it's hard to get to.
Which we never get to.
Yes.
We literally never get to that since we left, or 93.5 left us. We really haven't done any marketing at all.
Or left us as a community, not NuSpecies, right?
Oh yeah, it lives the entire Caribbean community.
Mhm. Yep, that was the
Absolutely.
radio station we were on for 13 years. So those of you who didn't know,
Correction,
wow.
13 straight years.
Yes, yes, Aston did up to 3 live 10-minute educational segments 5 days a week for 13 years. And that is how a lot of you have heard about us and learned about us. And since then, we've been trying to figure out what our marketing looks like without the radio. And we've been enjoying interacting with you directly here on this Q&A,
Mhm.
in your YouTube comments, in our email, in our text, on our email newsletter you reply to, as well as on the phones and in person. So if there's any other way you think we should be reaching you, so far our analytics are saying you prefer text message. But text messages are limited to characters. So if we have something more extensive to say, all I can do is link to it. So hopefully you're clicking those links and going to our site or wherever I've posted the information.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, good
All
morning,
right.
June. Hi. Hi, Donna. Hey, Doreen. Thank you so much. Doreen said, I love your Saturday morning chat. It's very informative. Excellent. That's what
Oh,
we need it to be. And
oh,
if it's
thank
ever not,
you.
yell at us.
Thank you.
Hi, Trevor. Good morning, Marjorie and Maxine. Thank you all for being here. All right. So we have one pre-submitted question. So we've got 2 questions already live, and then we have one pre-submitted from Devin. And Devin, if you're here, say hello so I know when to get to you. Okay. So we've got from Megan. Good morning. I have a procedure coming up. How long does it take for the colon to return to its original color after stopping the cleanse?
It may take maybe a month or a little longer than that.
Hmm.
But know that the color that you're seeing is if you eat a lot of green vegetables or do green juices or smoothies, that will do it as well. So if you're taking NuSpecies consistently, it's because of the chlorophyll that's in NuSpecies, especially in the detox. It's loaded with chlorophyll, as you all know, and that's why you love the NuSpecies detox. Chlorophyll is one of the best cleansers on the earth, and that's why God put it in plants for us to eat the plants, eat the leaves, and let the leaves heal the nation. So I would say maybe a month or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you may not have enough time, Megan, because I think last week on the Q&A you had said it was coming up pretty soon. But you could stop it now and see. In a lot of cases, as long as they know that you understand that you're using Cascara sagrada, which is the herb that they will typically acknowledge is what's causing the stain, then they won't be concerned. Now, if they've told you in advance that they're worried that the staining may obscure their ability to see something that they want to see, then I understand why it's even more urgent to try to get that stain to clear. So,
Right.
but even if you weren't taking our detox and you were eating tons of grains, that's it's going to happen. So
Right.
they should be aware of that, and you can give them the heads up.
And drink lots of water. Try to get, if you don't have kidney issues or congestive heart issues, you should do lots of water, at least half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 100 pounds, I like to say you do at least 50 ounces daily. That will help to clear it up too.
All right.
Yep.
Great. And follow up if you have anything else to say there, Megan. All right. And then let's see. June. I'm getting labs done to check cholesterol on Wednesday as per Aston. Followed his protocol for this past month. Okay, excellent.
Great.
Great. We're always refining, June, right?
Well, June, I think you are going to be in the category of longevity. Live long, my love. Live very long. And
But we always say longer and better because we want that longer to be quality, right? You don't want to live longer and be suffering. So,
right. So
only live as long as it's actually pleasurable to do so. We don't want to prioritize longevity over quality, right?
Yeah, that's true. Quality of life is critically important, of course. Yeah.
All right. Awesome, June. And I'll say June has been with us for years, ever since her granddaughter worked for us. And her regimen has changed a lot. And it's because she keeps checking in to say, hey, I was sensitive to this. What can I do? Or, hey, I'm noticing this now. What can I do? And we just keep optimizing, whether it's for her budget or for her needs. It's a constant evolution. So
that's it's a cycle. Our health, our lives, everything is a cycle, and we have to go through the cycles. And especially as people get older, things change and we have to change. You can't just keep doing the same old thing. So it's a cycle, and we go through the cycle at NuSpecies. We're always adjusting and readjusting, as you all know. And just the way the world works, that's the way the universe works, that's the way Earth or nature works, and that's the way NuSpecies work. We follow the natural laws of nature.
And what I will say, it's funny because I was literally thinking cycle in my mind when you said cycle, is we actually train our team this way. So we show an infographic of a bike gear. So if you've ever ridden a bicycle, you know that there's like the big one here, and then the chain is on it, and it goes down to the small one over here. And the big one is where the chain is always. And on the back end, the small one, if it's a mountain bike, you've got many gears where you shift into different functionality of the bike. And so the way we train our team is to explain that every time you talk to a client, especially someone who's been with us for a long time, it's you're reassessing what their needs are at this time. Because whether it's a budget change from month to month or an actual health needs change through different phases of life, we need to constantly reassess that we're serving you well. So what I explain to our employees and our team members is that think of the life cycle of the client with NuSpecies as being that big gear. So the chain is always on the gear. So as long as you're a human that needs quality nutrition in your body, you should hopefully always be choosing NuSpecies. And then you are always on that big gear. And then what you need from us is the small gear. So your needs actually might change and shift gears over time. And so their job is to make sure that you always stay on the gear and that they're helping you shift gears as necessary over time.
And by the way, that was totally not planned. I used the word cycle, and Jillian becomes an engineer. That's beautiful. That is so lovely.
I'm just
Great
so
analogy.
amazing.
It's a great, it's a great analogy. Cycle. I've got to find another word to get you going again.
But we do explain it to our employees. Like there's a client life cycle. They should always be on the cycle, but the gear that they're in will keep changing. And so just so you know, if you were to address that with our team, they should know what you're talking about because that's part of their training.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Good morning, Doreen and Trevor. Hi, Donna, Jay, Ricardo, Ron. Wow. We have love all the good mornings. Thank you so much. Look at this. Beautiful. Good morning, my family. We love you guys. Look. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay. I'm just admiring all of you.
All right, don't cry now.
Okay.
Don't tears.
I know, everything makes me cry now.
Tears of love.
All right. We have a pre-submitted question from, all right, Devin. I recently, okay, here, let me just, I'll copy and paste this so I can put it up on the screen. So if you have anything you want to, here we go. Okay, here we go. So put that in the chat so y'all can see it. All right. So I recently did my lab work, and the only two worrying metrics are my A1C, which is 5.5, and my LDL, which is 150. What do I need to do to lower this, and what products do you recommend?
So if you're in the United States, if your A1C is 5.5, that's excellent. But if you wanted to go to 5 lower, I don't think you need to do that, but 5.5 is excellent. It's actually 5.6, 5.7 is where it gets high. Unless your doctor has made some comments about your A1C at 5.5, you can let us know what your doctors are saying, but 5.5 is pretty good. As for the LDL 150, yes, you can do some work there. We can put you on what we use to help to rebuild the cardiovascular system to help with cholesterol, and your body can bring it down. If you stay on what we recommend, just staying it consistently, you could redo your labs in 3 months, and then you report back to us. And whatever regimen you choose, we have different options. Mary can put them on the screen for you, or we can give you a call. You should ensure that you're doing the new life. We have a diet guide. So if you use the diet guide along with what we recommend for supporting your body, rebuilding your body to fix the cholesterol, if you do those two together, you are going to be in very good shape. You can redo your labs in 3 months, and you should expect great results.
Yeah. Something I learned about cholesterol reading labs a long time ago, which I thought was interesting, was the main differences between LDL and HDL. So if you think about the L and the H, LDL, you could think of the L as lead, as in it leads the cholesterol to your heart, versus HDL, like take a hike, H takes the cholesterol away from your heart. So that's why when your LDL, which is leading the cholesterol to your heart, gets higher, that's why your doctor would say that they're concerned.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, bring it down, get it down to below 100, and you should be in good shape. That's where the normal range, that's where it ends, around 99. Yep.
All right, so pull that down. All right, so we don't have any other questions right now. Please feel free to keep popping your questions and comments in. You can ask about NuSpecies formulas. You can ask about the program that you are currently on. If you just got a new product that you haven't tried yet from NuSpecies, we can talk to you about it. Maybe you have questions about NuSpecies as a company, questions for Aston and I, maybe lifestyle or diet questions. We don't know everything, but what we can help you with, we will. So don't be shy to throw anything you want to talk about in the chat. Otherwise, Aston and I always have things on our mind
Oh, I
that
have
we can chat
plenty.
about. So what have you got? Because I've, as you can tell, we didn't plan this.
Okay, you go first.
Well, I just put in the email this morning about the Dr. Will Bolsowitz idea of the golden rule for eating.
Okay.
And that's what I talked about in today's email. So I could talk about that, or we can talk about something more specifically NuSpecian if you have something on your mind.
Well, I think spirituality is NuSpecian.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want us to talk about that, we could start with that, or we can go to foods. But foods are very NuSpecian as well. And I just mentioned the New Life program, which is one of the programs that we have developed over the years, and it has sustained itself. I think we created about 10, probably 12 years ago, right?
Yes, it's gone through a couple of updates, but nothing major.
Right, because it's been working phenomenally for people. So those of you who don't have a copy of the, we call it it's a food guide, what you eat, what you don't eat, just 2 pages. And if you don't have a copy, you should get a copy. I'm not sure if we have it on the website. You can download it, or on the app. It used to be up there. Or you can just call us and ask us, and we can email it to you. So it's all about, what you eat. What we eat is what we are. And we need to have a really good diversity of foods, and that's on a daily basis to support all the organs and all the glands, and that's what we have in the New Life program. And whether you have diabetes or blood pressure, cancer, you're just very healthy and you want to be more healthy, the new that program will help tremendously to guide you as to what to eat and what not to eat. So that's what that is.
Yeah. And it may not be a surprise. It may not be anything new. Often what is the most profoundly impactful of our health is what is the simplest. It's what we already know. It's not going to be some new sexy piece of information. It's unlikely to be some major scientific discovery that you're not aware of. There's lots of clickbait online that'll say, like, you'll have the greatest health if you only knew this. And then you're like, oh my God, I got to find out what this is. Very often leading to the sale of some sort of new product or supplement, which may or may not be bad. Who knows? But clickbait like that or cliffhangers like that are really usually leading you into some sort of hyper specific piece of information that isn't going to broadly impact your life. Maybe it's like one additional hack you could do to feel a little bit better, but it's not going for NuSpecies and Aston and I, our brains typically stick in the macro. We like to look at what are the broad things you can do on a daily basis that will have long-term, really powerful effects on your health. We really try not to get sucked into the world of all these little lifestyle hacks and nutrition hacks because they're just not going to have the impact that these advertisements claim that they will have.
Yeah, and I have done a lot of research on, all what you just said at a very high level, and in some cases at a very specific level. And what I can report to you is that the way science is working right now, the way physics is working, it's more on taking us back into labs to make things, to make food, to make whatever people want to sell it. It's very market driven. the heart and the soul of science. I wish it was a little different, where it focused on and good health, for children and all of us. But that's not the focus. The focus is what can we make to sell, and sell cheap
Mhm.
and sell quickly. And all these Nobel Prize winners and all these very smart people, the knowledge they have discovered or created, that's where it's going, because they create the knowledge. They don't have the money to reduce it to something useful for society in terms of furthering health
Or even if
for
they have the
children.
money, by the time you reduce it to something that can be put on the market in a profitable way, you lose any nutritional value it could have had.
You do. And then to your point, the worst part of that is, a lot of these scientists, they spend their whole life inventing, creating, or discovering something. And then they turn 70, 80, 90. They don't have time to reduce it, to practice, to help people. So companies come in and garble it up, buy it out, and then they use it to do these, these crazy things. And that's why we always say, Jill, that we're never going to sell NuSpecies, because we know that if we do, there are people out there who are just going to look to drive it to make money, and they won't focus on, and the dignity of health, the morality of health, the hope that people have to live better. A lot of companies are not really focused on that, actually,
Unless it's
unfortunately.
to someone internally who's been working with us for many years.
You mean Mary? Of course.
So we're gonna say we're never gonna sell NuSpecies, but if you find out it gets sold to Mary, then we're good. You're good.
All right, give it to Mary.
She's earned it.
Yeah, I think so.
But so the golden rule of eating that Dr. Will Bulsiewicz talks about in his book, Fiber Fueled, which there's an endless resource of really incredible information in this book. I will say that you guys typically come to us to give you the shorthand of things because you trust that we've done our due diligence. If you don't want to take my word for it, read the book. It's an amazing, life-changing read. But if you want to take my word for it and just get to the skip forward to the part where you actually change your life,
you should issue a disclaimer.
Sure.
You should let NuSpecians know that you don't know him, never met him. You're not promoting his book to to make money
I'm not
or get
getting
money
any sort
or
of.
get.
There's no link to his book in my
Okay.
email. There's no
Okay.
link to his book anywhere. You can just go find it online.
Okay.
Yeah. But right. So if you want to take my word for it and just skip forward to the conclusion of the matter is, and I kind of give you the shorthand in our email this morning, but basically he claims, and this is with current science, and he does use like a 40-page PDF to go through all the studies and how he deemed them to be scientifically significant. So it's not, there's a lot of books out there that reference science that is actually not significant when it comes to changes you should actually make in your lifestyle. So I appreciated his due diligence in that way. That made me more confident, because Aston and I don't just read anything and then tell you, because just because something was published by a scientist doesn't mean it's getting us to the right conclusion for what we should actually do in our life, right? So as far as this book says at this time, the golden rule of eating would be is plant diversity. So eating a huge diversity of plants. So in the New Life program, we give
Did
you.
they give examples in this book of those type of foods?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So in our New Life program, you will see that we give you a diversity of plants. We're not saying that these are the only plants you should eat. I know some people will call us and say, this says cabbage. Can it be purple? Does it have to be green or whatever? No, it's as long as you're eating plants, that's just a springboard to give you some of the most common plants you have access to easily in the grocery store that are very nutritionally powerful.
Right.
But ultimately, the goal will be to be eating at least 30 different plants per week, ideally up to 50.
I wonder how many are you, or how many people out there eating 30 different plants per week?
Not most people aren't.
But
so 60% of humans' consumption of plants is actually rice, corn, and wheat.
There's a but though.
And that's not really the kind of plants you want to be eating.
If any of you are taking the LNU 1 or the LNU, you're taking the detox package, And if you add
That
in
counts as
New
your plants.
Genesis, you're probably close to 30 or over 30 plants and herbs already.
And because our products are raw and we're just grinding up the whole foods, fiber is actually still present, which is what I'm going to get to about the plants.
Okay.
But the fiber is still present, which I think is a huge reason why NuSpecies formulas are so powerful and why people will go out there and try to buy these individual ingredients and reconstruct our formulas in a cheaper way, and they still don't get the benefits.
Okay.
To the point where they say, this can't really be what's in your product because I'm not able to reproduce the results. And we say, well, it's really not about just what's in the product. It's about how we get that put that product together.
Right.
That makes it so powerful.
If I have time, I'll read that book. But right now I'm working on.
You can just take my word for it.
I take your word for it because right now
I can't learn everything Aston knows, and he can't learn everything I know. That's why we're a good team.
True.
So
True.
plant diversity is important because there are, unlike what you would be led to think when you look at like fiber supplements in like a pharmacy, you would think maybe there's one type of fiber. There's actually, and I'm quoting, innumerable types of fiber. And all these different types of fiber come from a huge diversity of plants. And the reason why this is important is because the beneficial bacteria that are in our gut are actually what are responsible for unleashing the nutrients in our food. And what do those bacteria eat? They eat fiber. And the more diverse fiber you get into your gut, the more diverse population of gut bacteria you're going to have, meaning that you're going to unleash more and more nutrients out of your food. One of the nutrients that's really key and fundamental to decreasing inflammation in our gut, which is one of the root causes of all disease, he would say the root cause of all disease, is short chain fatty acids. You don't have to worry about what those are, but basically short chain fatty acids, they are unleashed when bacteria, healthy beneficial bacteria, break down the fiber that you eat. Short chain fatty acids help to reduce and suppress the presence of pathogens or unhealthy bacteria in your gut, which are what cause inflammation. They also specifically and directly suppress things like E. coli and salmonella. So if you are reducing inflammation in your gut, you are setting the tone for a cascade of health benefits in your body. And if you don't reduce the inflammation in your gut, you are setting the tone for a massive disease development in the body. So these healthy bacteria have to break down the food, and all they eat is fiber. So things like flesh and fluids, so that would be like animal meat or fluids like dairy, don't have any fiber. So when you make that the priority in your diet, you're actually prioritizing inflammation or dysbiosis, disease in your body. That's why a huge diversity of plants is so important. Now, plants would be vegetables, fruit, legumes, whole grains, seaweed, fermented foods, nuts, seeds. So most of the food on the planet is made up of plants. There are approximately 300,000 edible plants on planet Earth. And apparently, as a species in total, we are only consuming about 200 of them. And as individuals, we're probably consuming maybe 10 of them in our whole lives. So it's pretty dangerous for our individual health and our collective health as a species, and for what we pass down to our children. So, Aston, when you named NuSpecies, the goal behind that was Nu stands for nutrition, NU, that if we nourish our bodies and we help our genes express themselves as positively as possible, because that's what the healthy bacteria does, it turns our genes on and off, that we can then pass that healthy genome down to our children and in turn become a healthier and healthier species, which would be a new species, right? And they've actually proven this in mice. It's not possible, supposedly, at this time to replicate these studies in humans, but in mice, they've actually proven that the gut microbiome that you have, you pass down to mice pass down to their children. And that access to a diverse gut microbiome will actually decrease generation by generation. You will pass down um, that tendency toward disease and inflammation. If you are destroying your gut during your lifetime, you will then pass down that limited gut microbiome to your children, at least in mice.
Mhm.
There's good reason to believe that also happens in humans. They just can't prove it. So to me, that backs up what you've been saying. Science is finally catching up what you've been saying
It's
for
about
25 years
it's about
since before
time.
I knew you.
It's about
You've been writing
time.
those emails to your family and friends. So, anyway, that's my long thing. But the bottom line is if you are eating, like, think about your standard stir fry or curry or salad, you could have potentially up to 12 different plants, herbs, spices, legumes in one meal. Plus the new species that you're taking, there's a whole bunch more herbs. So it's actually not that hard to get a huge diversity of plants into your diet. We're not talking about only vegetables, right? So your
Mhm.
herbs and spices count, and beans and vegetables and fruits, all that stuff counts, and your new species counts. So it's actually not that hard. It's just something you have to make intentional in your life.
Mhm.
So it's not about whether or not you're eating meat. Okay, fine. You have meat on your salad. Great. But does your salad have a huge diversity of plants? Just focus on the diversity of plants. Don't worry so much about everything else. And slowly you will start to see a huge change in your overall health.
Okay. I completely endorse that. And no,
What would I have done if he
I'm
didn't?
gonna,
Show would be over.
yeah, yeah, it would. But seriously, when when we talk about uh, DNA and genes, right? DNA has been around for about 3-4 billion years. And Trevor, you're going to research that. And life has been around for a long time, about 1 billion years. And what science is showing is that, speaking of generational, passing things on to to your kids, what science is showing is that we have DNA in our bodies that are at least 1 billion years old. From Just think back over 1 billion years of all these ancestors that we have that go way back. So, and we're talking about, you know, brief generational four cycles of, of a family. Yes, imagine how powerful whatever we're passing to our children and grandchildren. Imagine how powerful that is right now. We're not talking about 100,000 years. We're not even talking about 10,000. We're not even talking about 1,000 years. We're talking about a couple hundred years that will make up several generations. So what we eat is also what we pass to, the generations that we create and leave behind. So it's so important. I personally believe, and I believe this since I was a kid, literally, that one of the main purpose we serve on Earth is to make the generation before us better. I really believe that. I believe that's part of the cycle. We're talking about cycle, is that we're supposed to contribute to the extent we can to make the next generation better than our generation. And if we're not doing that, I think we're not just defeating ourselves with health, but we're defeating our children. Why have children if we're not going to think about their future? Why have children and then they're going to have children, grandchildren, if we're not going to think about their future? And I think that's what NuSpecies is all about. That's all part of the foundation of NuSpecies, with my grandparents and and my father, who died of prostate cancer, and my mother, who died of complication of diabetes. And I'm looking at my own. You talk about those emails Jill is talking about. When I met Jill about 18 or so years ago, or 20 years ago, I used to send all these emails to my family members. A lot of emails about health, what to eat, what not to eat. And only one ever responded. And by the way, my family is massive. I have 14 brothers and sisters. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? And a lot of grandchildren, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot. So One responded, and it wasn't even a sibling that responded. It was a sister-in-law that responded. And she's been living the NuSpecies the lifestyle for the last 18, 20 years. So I have, and I hope relatives are listening. I have a lot of relatives that I'm upset with as well, as many of you are. So when it comes to NuSpecies, it ties back to what you just said. We created a company to help people to live better and to live longer. And that's why we put so much dynamic effort in ensuring that when you bring your children and your grandchildren to us to ingest NuSpecies, they're going to metabolize something that's good for them, that will help them to build up their bodies and hopefully help them to live better and longer. So whatever the doctor's name, yes, the foundations of what you're saying, that you read it in the book, that's NuSpecies. New, as you said, means nutrition. It also means nature in the universe. That's where the whole NuSpecies research started, looking at nature, looking at life, looking at foods, and how our bodies work, nature, and then the universe that give us all the atoms in our bodies from the stars. So, or from God, who used the dust of the earth, which are atoms, to make our bodies. And that's what NuSpecies really is. And we believe in that. And that's why when we stop doing NuSpecies, Jill and I, we may just say, Mary, do you want NuSpecies?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
It's on record now. So I want to just grab the new bee pollen version that we have. So I
Sure.
just want to show everybody. So sorry, but
So one of the things I have been working on, folks, for years now, since Jillian walked off the set, we're going to take the opportunity to go off on my soapbox.
okay.
When I was a child, I was about 8 years old, and I was in church with my mother, and what happened was that, am I still on?
Yes.
Okay. When I was sitting in the Moravian church, which is now destroyed, and I'm gonna go down to try to help to contribute to what we can do to get it back. But when I was a child, I used to sit beside my mother, and the preacher would be preaching on the pulpit, and behind the preacher was a portrait of Christ, and I would stare at that portrait, and I would say to myself, how can that man be so powerful? And I would feel shivers going through my body. And then I would ask my mother about it, and she would say, "Oh boy, it's God moving through you. It's God's spirit moving through you." And as I told Jillian maybe 20 years ago, I went in search of God. I had to find God, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of research, history, study history, biblical history, other religious history, and I've arrived at a place now.
You also wrote an entire trilogy.
I have. I wrote a trilogy, which I didn't publish, but I think I'm ready to get to that now, publishing it.
There's no time for that right now.
Not right now. Okay, but but from that, what's coming is NuSpecies spirituality. We have a lot of clients who are sick, and it's for everybody. But we have a lot of clients who are sick, and they pray, and they're still suffering. Medical science are not able to help them. And I see where if we are able to give them, the kind of dignity, for me, spirituality means dignity and compassion and love and care, honest, true care. That's what we call spirituality. So we have some meditative programs that we're developing that can help people to suffer less. And if we have to die, which we all will, we can die with hope and dignity. And that's what basically at the high level, that's what the NuSpecies spirituality is. It's tapping back into ourselves the way God made us, and use a true, honest, clean, pristine spirit in us to give us more happiness and more compassion toward ourselves, because a lot of us, we are more tough on ourselves than we are on other people. And when we get sick, I think that's where I see a lot of people get more tough on themselves. And that causes stress and stress skills. What I see is that the stress they're going through is what's killing them when they get diagnosed with cancer or some chronic disease. They could live for ages. They could live for immense ages more. But because they get stressed out and frightened and have fear, that stress, the hormones that they're creating in their bodies, the cortisol, the stress hormones, cause their cancer to get worse, cause their diseases to get worse. So the programs that we're working on for 2026 is to help all of us, and especially people who are in greater need to have that level of spirituality. So this is preparing for God, if you want to call it that, because it's God, but it's not God. It's you embracing yourself as a dignified human being and loving yourself and knowing that when you have a disease, you are not your disease. And and I would say that's the crux of it. We're sick. We're not our sickness. We still have our humanity. We still need compassion. We still need love. We still need, dignity. And that's what the new species spirituality, we're going to add it to our programs. So yes, we're taking care of the physical, supporting your bodies so you can live better and longer. But even more important, people, the spiritual the spiritual element is far more important, so much more important. And we're going to teach you that.
Yeah, really looking
I just
forward
sound
to
like,
this.
like my father. I feel like I was just preaching.
You were.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to shut up now.
It's important. Fitzgerald he's testing me.
What is he saying?
He said, I can't wait for that trilogy. Please bring it on. Trevor, that is not getting onto the 2026 agenda. I'm sorry.
You getting flock?
If I have any say, which I hope I do.
Okay.
All right. Now I forget what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to get into bee pollen updates.
Yes. Let's switch gears.
Okay, folks. So, Mary, you were saying the closer I keep it to my face, the better. All right, folks. Here we go. So, as you may remember, here's bee pollen. This used to say bee pollen 1, and then the second product was bee pollen 9, and it was also in this size bottle with the dropper, and it had the yellow strip. Okay. Bee pollen 9 was basically a more concentrated version of the first bee pollen, the original, so that per dropper, you would get a higher dose. And what that meant was that you'd have to probably buy multiple of these 1-ounce bottles, and you'd have to take multiple droppers. And this would be for people with more chronic and severe digestive issues, or what would be other issues? Is it mainly digestive?
Digestive, pain,
asthma.
A lot of people take over bee pollen for pain, asthma, allergies. We use it to help to rebuild the brain. So we use it for quite a number of different purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I had realized was that it would be easier if you didn't have to deal with the dropper when you need a higher dose. So if Aston's telling you to take a whole teaspoon, it doesn't make sense to really use the dropper. So what I thought was, can we just put it in another bottle without a dropper so that you can just pour your dose? And rather than needing a different formulation, which for us means more testing and more, manufacturing complications, why not just make it simpler and put the same formula in a larger bottle without the dropper so that you can pour your teaspoon or multiple teaspoons, still have it last as long because you're getting more per bottle, and have an easier time dispensing your dose. So this is the replacement for bee pollen 9. You are still getting the higher concentration because you are taking a higher dose by pouring this out rather than being limited to the tube. All right. So just repeat that one more time. The only reason we had bee pollen 9 was because per tube, we wanted you to get a higher potency of a dose. But instead of making you go through that, we figured we would just put the same bee pollen in a larger bottle without the dropper, so you can just pour the higher dose and get the higher concentration without needing a different formulation. All right. So if you're no longer seeing the bee pollen 9, it's just because it's been replaced with a 2-ounce bee pollen. So now this is what you will see in stock is bee pollen in a 1 ounce bottle with a dropper, and bee pollen in a 2 ounce bottle with no dropper. All right. Our team will also help reinforce that, but I just wanted to make sure you're aware. Okay. Aston Fitzgerald wasn't able to provide more detail, but maybe you know what he's talking about. He was asking about um, a woman who has tremors that are getting worse. Has he been talking to you about a? I asked for more detail, but he didn't see my question.
No, I can, Fitzgerald, I can give you a call today.
Okay.
But no, I actually haven't talked to Fitzgerald in quite a while.
Because he's becoming independent. He's able to take
Yeah.
care of things. She has a few other medical problems, including depression and now the tremors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not like she actually has a like Parkinson's or something. That's why we just need to know more about the root cause. So I think Aston's probably going to need to just call you.
Yeah, I'll give him a call.
Okay, sorry about that, Fitz. We'd like to get more detailed, but
What do you call him?
I know I keep saying that. I don't know if you like that. I'm sorry, Fitzgerald. I don't know where that comes from. Okay.
Okay.
We've got time for one more question from
Mhm.
Isis. What do you recommend for my son who's 15? He's very active. I'm looking for a daily vitamin.
Okay, you
We have
just
a
said
very
it.
active 15-year-old as well.
Mm-hmm. B vitamins. We have the B vitamins complex. I think that's should be good enough. It has all the B vitamins and vitamin C.
As well
Plus,
as alfalfa. So
yeah,
you're getting more than just the B vitamins, vitamin C. You're getting
right,
minerals
right,
and anything else alfalfa provides that science hasn't proven yet. You're getting all of it.
right. So he could take a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons a day, and I think he should be in good shape.
Mhm.
And that goes for all of you, for your children and your grandchildren. Like the lady who came to Bronxville yesterday, she's going to get the B vitamins. I think she got the B vitamins for her grandchildren, and you all should do it too. Rebuild their brains, rebuild their genes and DNA. You give them genes, you give them DNA, you created them. So, power them up so that when they have children, they continue your line of genes. And that's the beauty about life. Our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, they continue what we give them and they carry us on and on. And that's part of longevity. That's part of immortality. But that's part of what we're going to talk about in the spiritual things we're writing. And by the way, we have some articles on the blog at newspecies.com. It's called NuSpecianism or SDAE, SDAE. You can start looking at those. And Fitzgerald, if you want to, or Fitz, if you want to.
He gave me permission.
Okay, so maybe you, not me. But if you want to get heads up on what's in the trilogy, yes, go read those articles that we have in the blog on SDAE, SDAE, or NuSpecianism. They're both interchangeable, and you'll get some really good heads up and what's coming in 2026 with New Species Spirituality.
Isis, I'll say one more thing, just because our son does play a lot of sports and tends to get really sore after workouts and more intense practices. So we always have MSM anyway because we take it, but we try to encourage him to take it proactively and at the very least when he's feeling sore, because that really helps with repair because it has more vitamin C in it. It has, oh gosh, I always chondroitin and one other thing. No. I don't know, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The glucosamine?
Yeah.
Okay. I always want to say glutathione because Aston's always talking about that. So I can't. Glutathiones, I get it stuck in my head. But the MSM is great for repair of tissues and joints and cartilage. So if he's active sports wise, MSM is great. If you don't do the MSM, you could do the bee pollen. So right here. Because
both.
bee pollen is a great source of amino acids, which your
Mhm.
son's body will use to synthesize protein rather than trying to eat a lot of protein, which we discussed earlier, does not have fiber and will only encourage inflammation in the gut. Bee pollen will not. So it's got amino acids, it's got a lot of nutrition. It's considered a superfood, so it's really excellent for athletes as well as the other issues we were talking about earlier. So you could add that in with the B vitamins if the budget allows.
And just to underscore it for all of you, the ancient Romans, speaking of descendants, Julian descended from them. The ancient Romans used to use bee pollen to feed the soldiers, and that's how they were able to march so deep into into Eastern Europe, into Germania to conquer. They fed the soldiers on bee pollen. It gives endurance. So if you want endurance, rebuild your brain, it also gives energy. So when you take our bee pollen, I can't speak for others because it's so pure, it's completely
It's
natural,
raw.
it's raw. So you're going to get all those benefits. And that goes for all our formulas. You take any new species formula, you can expect to get numerous benefits from just taking them because they're so powerful. And it goes back to Jillian's speech about, the good bacteria, the bad bacteria, having all these different vegetables in your diet. The bee pollen is a super, super food. And that's something that, you all should have at home, especially for your children and grandchildren.
All right, so May's cracking me up in the background here. To piggyback on this question, she asked what to give my 14-year-old granddaughter who is not active. It's the
Same thing.
Same thing, B vitamins, or which is also called the multivitamin, but the detox. It comes in capsules. If she's not active, her digestion may not be that great. She may not be getting enough movement in to push fecal matter through and out of her body. So I would definitely recommend the detox capsules to keep her bowels moving.
Right. So, May, the only gender bias we have at NuSpecies is the women's health, which is Queen Annie and the women's health formula, and the men's health formula and the big boy. Those are the only gender specific bias we have at NuSpecies, and for obvious reasons. The woman's body is very different from a man's body, and a man's body is very different from a woman's body hormonally and the hormonal consequences. So that's why we have a gender bias. And I would submit that the gender bias we have is legitimate. It's based on the laws of nature. And it works based on what we do. It works really well.
All right. And then Tracy has one quick question. Okay. Sorry. Fitzgerald is just saying we could wait till you can call him to talk about what's going on. She has an appointment coming up that should be helpful.
Okay.
Okay. Tracy, will make your question the last one. So, and I'm probably going to tie this right back to what I was saying earlier. So, I started water fasting in December of 2025. I've lost 23 pounds. I'm a 60-year-old female. What's the best vitamins for my age group to help with bad bacteria? So, number one, that is incredible. And just make sure it's sustainable and that your labs are looking good and that you actually feel good, because it's wonderful to lose weight, but we also want to feel good. That's the whole point, right? For our health. So, really, the best thing for bad bacteria is good bacteria, because good bacteria suppresses and pushes out bad bacteria. And to promote good bacteria, you just need to eat a huge diversity of plant-based foods. So I would say, along with water fasting, eating a lot of plants is going to help your gut populate with a lot of healthy bacteria, which will kill bad bacteria. So as far as supplements go, I wouldn't say it's vitamins necessarily. It would be more, we would recommend our probiotic and our detox, just to keep fecal matter moving through. Yeah, you don't really have to get too specific. There's no silver bullet there. It's really just an overall healthy lifestyle that promotes a healthy gut. So that includes sleeping, drinking water, exercise, managing stress, not eating processed foods and sugar. All these things will increase the pathogens in your gut. So I wouldn't say there's any specific vitamin you have to be concerned about there.
Right. That's exactly right. And what you can do if you want, you could send us your urinalysis. We could take a look at it to determine how things are going in your body when it comes to bacteria or inflammation. You could just send it in to us, and we'll be happy to look at it and give you a call back. Or you can come into one of our stores if that's easier for you.
Yeah, and I'd say that's a pretty intense pace of for weight loss. So I don't know if that would continue, but if it does continue, I mean, that's at least 10 pounds a month. That's pretty intense. Now, you may have a lot of weight to lose, so it comes off fast in the beginning, but I just want to make sure that your labs, I think it's good to send in your labs just to make sure that things are looking good, that your body's staying balanced, and that it's a healthy pace for you to continue to lose weight. Because that is a lot.
It is, especially if you're losing muscles and you don't ever want to lose muscles. So fat tissues are different from muscles. So if we're losing muscles, guess what? We're losing brain tissue, we're losing, or it's shrinking, and we're losing heart tissue. And those are the two places that muscle loss, will affect the most. Is our brain and our heart. Those are two organs that use the most blood in our bodies. So if they're shrinking unnecessarily, it will lead to other chronic health issues. So let us know. We don't have the details. Maybe you can rejoin next week or the following week, or
Or call us.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give us a call and we'll talk you through it.
And you
Yep.
could fax in any recent labs you have. It would be good to have a baseline to see what things looked like prior to your fasting and then what things are looking like after.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you already had a physical, maybe you're generally healthy and you're not due for another one for a long time, it's pretty affordable to pay.
Okay.
Italian in me.
No, it's gravity. Come on.
It's the spirits.
Yeah,
It's
NuSpecian
it's
spirits.
pretty affordable to just pay out of pocket to get certain labs done directly at a lab without needing your doctor to prescribe it or going through insurance. So you can check in on your overall well-being more frequently than your doctor may be able to justify with your insurance.
Mhm.
All right, I hope that helps, Tracy. But all right, y'all. So it's 11:03. We are done for today, but this was
Mhm.
awesome. You guys are so entertaining and make this so fun for us. And we really do get so much fulfillment from being here with you and learning from you.
And we hope you do as well. We
Yes.
try to give you the information straight. We're not looking at things and reading things to you. We're telling you what we know, what we practice, what we believe in. And we hope that, that sentiment passes to you, and you get your family and friends to join and learn and let the children listen. And a gentleman I spoke with earlier this week was saying that he was there at home and his whole family was there and neighbors were there and other visitors from family from afar were there. And that's what you do. You share the knowledge. If you think we're doing a good thing, share it. Like us. What else you do? You like us and
Yeah.
give us a
What else can you do?
review.
Go to our newspecies.com. Please subscribe to our email and or text messaging so that we can reach you
Thank you.
directly. You can also like here and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you get notifications whenever we post new content or whenever we're live. But also because it helps our online presence carry the same authority and legitimacy as our in-person presence, and we appreciate your help with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was very helpful.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. Next week, we will be preparing pre recorded content, and then we'll be live again the last week of January.
Yeah, so next week I'll be in Jamaica. I'm going to help with volunteering to rebuild and to visit my church that I talked about that got devastated. So I'll be out next week, but the following week I'll be back, and hopefully we will be back with our Q&A. So you all have a great week. God bless.
Bye bye.